The leaders of this expansion have been the women of America who helped create the new jobs and filled 2 out of every 3 of them. And to the women of America, I say, you know better than anyone that equality begins with economic empowerment. You're gaining economic power, and I'm not going to let them take it away from you. There are millions of Americans who were brutalized by inflation. We arrested it, and we're not going to let it out on furlough. We're going to keep that Social Security Trust Fund sound and out of reach of the big spenders. To America's elderly, I say, once again, you have the security that is your right, and I'm not going to let them take it away from you. I know the liberal Democrats are worried about the economy. They're worried it's going to remain strong. And they're right. It is. With the right leadership, it will remain strong. But let's be frank, things aren't perfect in this country. There are people who haven't tasted the fruits of the expansion. I've talked to farmers about the bills they can't pay, and I've been to the factories that feel the strain of change, and I've seen the urban children who play amidst the shattered glass and the shattered lives, and there are the homeless. And you know, it doesn't do any good to debate endlessly which policy mistake of the 70s is responsive. They're there, and we have to help them. But what we must remember, if we're to be responsible and compassionate, is that economic growth is the key to our endeavors. I want growth that stays, that broadens, that touches, finally, all Americans, from the hollows of Kentucky to the sunlit streets of Denver, from the suburbs of Chicago to the broad avenues of New York, and from the oil fields of Oklahoma to the farms of the Great Plains. And can we do it? Of course we can. We know how. We've done it. And if we continue to grow at our current rate, we will be able to produce 30 million jobs in the next 8 years. And we will do it by maintaining our commitment to free and fair trade, by keeping government spending down, and by keeping taxes down. Our economic life is not the only test of our success. One issue overwhelms all the others, and that's the issue of peace. And look at the world on this bright August night. The spirit of democracy is sweeping the Pacific Rim. China feels the winds of change. New democracies assert themselves in South America, and one by one, the unfree places fall, not to the force of arms, but to the force of an idea. Freedom works. And we have a new relationship with the Soviet Union, the INF Treaty, the beginning of the Soviet withdrawal from Afghanistan, the beginning of the end of the Soviet proxy war in Angola, and with it, the independence of Namibia, Iran and Iraq, move toward peace? It's a watershed. It is no accident. It happened when we acted on the ancient knowledge that strength and clarity lead to peace, weakness and ambivalence lead to war. You see, weakness tempts aggressors. Strength stops them. I will not allow this country to be made weak again. Never. The tremors in the Soviet world continue. The hard earth there has not yet settled. Perhaps what is happening will change our world forever, and perhaps not. A prudent skepticism is in order, and so is hope. But either way, we're in an unprecedented position to change the nature of our relationship, not by preemptive concession, but by keeping our strength, not by yielding up defense systems with nothing won in return, but by hard, cool engagement in the tug and pull of diplomacy. My life has been lived in the shadow of war. I almost lost my life in one. And I hate war. Love peace. And we have peace. And I am not going to let anyone take it away from us. Our economy is strong, but not invulnerable. And the peace is broad, but can be broken. And now we must decide. We will surely have change this year, but will it be change that moves us forward or change that risks retreat? In 1940, when I was barely more than a boy, Franklin Roosevelt said we shouldn't change horses in midstream. My friends, these days, the world moves even more quickly. And now, after 2 great terms, a switch will be made. But when you have to change horses in midstream, doesn't it make sense to switch to one who's going the same way?